Okay, this is a list of foods that you should not be eating if you're a parent over 30, maybe in your 40s, and you are struggling to lose the weight that you need to lose. These are the foods that you should not be eating. Here we go. First one, raisin toast. Second one, croissants, bananas. We know the sugar's way too high. Eggs, way too much fat. Shouldn't be eating or drinking any milk. Definitely cereal is off. Okay, you get where I'm going with this, right? There is always going to be something that you shouldn't be eating. There's always going to be some guru telling you that this is good, this is bad. Let's get beyond that. And I want you to take a really good think about, even in your diet, you would know that there are some things that you are consuming if you are overweight that you just shouldn't be doing. And you need to start there, rather than trying to eliminate one particular thing that is going to be the cure for your weight loss. Is usually some sources that you know in your life, in your diet right now, that you know that you should get rid of, and you should be starting there, okay? Now, what foods, getting all muddled up in my words here, what foods should you be realistically be careful of, okay? Because it depends on how you go about your diet, depends on what sort of goals you have, how active you are, what lifestyle that you live, really depends on, you know, what sort of foods you should or shouldn't be eating, okay? But what I would highly say is, if you are struggling with weight loss and you're a busy parent, is that you definitely want to be extra cautious of your fat and carbohydrate combo style foods, okay? So highly palatable foods, things that realistically taste really good, but they're in such high demand from your body is that the body wants more and more and more of it, because the calories are high, it tastes really good because there's a high amount of fat and a high amount of sugar. The addictability, whatever you want to call it, your likability of that food is going to be, the chances of that are going to be really high, considering if it's a combo of these two things, both fat and carbohydrates, okay? So try and take a think about it. Most people don't just like gnawing on sugar alone, like just teaspoons of table sugar, and most people also don't really want to indulge just in teaspoons and tablespoons of olive oil or butter, okay? So it might not be just it's fat is bad or sugar is bad. A lot of the time it's when they are combined together, things like cakes, biscuits, chips, hot chips, okay? It's fat and carbohydrates and salt to make it taste even better. Lots of kids snacks are like that as well. So if you're a parent and you're looking after your kids and you're snacking on their food and it's a high combination of both fat and carbohydrates, right? You're going to make it you're just going to make your weight loss goals even harder. So those are the foods that I would scrutinize at the very beginning, okay? Beyond the ones that you know that you should probably get rid of, there'll be a whole bunch of dads out there that should be realistically cutting right back on things like beer and wine, or completely eliminating it as well if weight loss is actually your goal. However, we're just going to talk about food. It would be the combination foods, okay? Think about pizza, it's carbohydrates and fat. It's not just one or the other, okay? So if you're going to have these things, you want to try and separate them, okay? Meaning that, okay, if it's time to have fat, time to have fat. If it's time to have sugar or carbohydrates, okay, maybe it's time to do that, okay? Rather than trying to combine these things, that's where we can overconsume so much food. It's ridiculous. And for anyone who's a foodie, and if you're overweight, you're probably some foodie to some degree, well, then you would definitely want to be cautious of these combo type foods, okay? So all these things that I showed you, these are all things that are in our cupboard and pantry, right? These are all fat and carbohydrate combos. So if I've got 10, 15 kilos worth of weight to lose, like these sorts of things, doesn't mean that you can't have it, okay? It just, like, I love eggs, everyone knows that I love eggs, but you've just got to be extra cautious depending on what you're combining together. Like one of my favorite meals is like a whole bunch of toast with like 6 eggs cooked in butter, right? So you've got carbohydrates and you've got a whole bunch of fat as well. Sure, both things really good for you. However, if I'm looking at trying to control my appetite, if I'm looking at trying to control my intake, putting those foods together where I just want more and more and more of it makes that task of trying to control my intake even harder. Okay, so take a think about those foods that are combo foods in your diet. They are like low-hanging fruit. They are great things to go after, to get rid of and replace with something else. Okay, so where I would leave this conversation is that anyone that has weight loss goals and you're struggling and you're not sure where it is to go, is that at some point, some form of rules or discipline needs to be applied to what it is that you're trying to do. Okay, so what I mean by that is rules. There's diets where you're going to eliminate things. Okay, so we're going to go on a low carbohydrate diet. Well, obviously you're going to get rid of the carbohydrates in your diet. That's some form of restriction. Okay, you're going to need to be disciplined in that manner to do that. There's rules around it. Same thing in vice versa. Okay, if you're going to have a whole bunch of carbohydrates, okay, you're going to eliminate the fat from your diet. Okay, so a low fat diet is also another form of restriction. Okay, high protein, low fat and low carbohydrate is another form of restriction, another form of rules in which way that you could diet. Okay, another way of looking at it is you could track your food every single day, which means that you have a map of everything that you were doing and you have a mixed blend type diet where it doesn't really matter, but as long as you're sort of counting your calories and trying to measure those metrics to some degree, okay, that is another form of rules and discipline that you would have to honor that system. And that's what it can come down to a lot of the time, is not like what list of foods should you not be eating. Okay, a lot of it is, okay, what are the rules and things that I need to put in place so that I don't overconsume when I know that I can overconsume, right? Like dads on the weekend drinking beer and then staying up late and eating more food than what you probably should could be just one of them as well, okay? Or eating the kids' snacks and you've eaten some of their dinner before you've even had your dinner. There are a lot of things, okay? So at some stage there is going to be needing for you, if you really want to lose this weight, don't pick necessarily on one particular, what food should I not eat, okay? Initially I would look for the combos, fat and carbohydrates together. They taste amazing. It's always, the most nicest of food possible. Like think about spaghetti, pasta and fat and protein, amazing. But you can't have too much of it, right? And it depends on where you are within your goal. Okay, it depends on where you are within your timeline, but that's what I would look at, is that understanding that anytime that I want to lose weight, there is going to have to be some form of restriction. Fasting is some form of restriction, time restricted eating, all of it is restrictive to some degree. You just need to pick something that you feel maybe is least restrictive, okay? Low carb diets for some people is that. Low fat diet for some people is less restrictive, okay? Calorie counting is less restrictive for some people, and you talk to just a different person around the corner and calorie counting is restrictive to that person. So it all depends on you. That's what I would recommend. If you have any questions, because this could spark quite a fair few questions for you, DM me privately and we can have a chat and we'll see where that goes. All right, guys, bye.